As the evening drew to a close, Felix, Mira, and Vicky were ready to leave. Felix's car wouldn't start. What happened? Mira asked. I think something is being tampered with in the brain box. Felix replied, exiting to check the engine. I don't think this is your job. Call your mechanic, Vicky suggested. Mira and Vicky got out of the car. How far? Mira asked. Order an Uber, but we need to get out of here. We will walk to the junction, Felix said. Mira called for an Uber as they started walking. And I have a football match I must not miss, Felix added. Really? Did Manchester enter the league? Vicky asked. No, they didn't even reach top 5. Today is, Felix began. As they chatted, Mira, uninterested in football, walked faster and reached the roadside. As she crossed the zebra crossing, a car sped past, causing her to fall back. Felix and Vicky rushed to her, horrified. Are you okay? Felix and Vicky asked in unison, scared and horrified, helping her up. Mira quickly took her medication from her bag, looking terrified. In the back seat of an Uber, Felix and Vicky were still concerned about Mira's well-being. Maybe we should stop by the hospital, Vicky suggested. I support that, Felix agreed. Stop the car, Mira suddenly exclaimed. The Uber driver immediately pulled over. Mira exited the car. The others followed her, looking puzzled as she pointed towards a spot near the bush. I thought an accident happened here, Mira said. Felix, concerned, shielded them as they approached. Call the cops, he instructed. Felix and Vicky followed the trace of the tire marks leading into the bushes. As they moved closer, they spotted the earlier car that nearly hit Mira. Mira rushed to it, with Felix and Vicky close behind. I thought the FRSC missed the car, Vicky said. Mira opened the car door, revealing Mr. Caleb inside, covered in blood and unconscious. Call the emergency! Ambulance! Mira urged. The atmosphere in the hospital was tense. Felix and Vicky were discussing at a distance, watching Mira, who was overly worried about a stranger. Mira, we have called one of his family members. Let's go home. You don't seem all right. Felix approached. I can't leave him alone. We don't know what might happen. What if he dies? He seems so innocent. Why is he drinking so much alcohol? Mira said, concerned. That's none of our business. Besides, he's a stranger. Let's go home and stop being dramatic, Vicky said. We can't leave him. He's a human being. We will wait till Mira began. But a scream interrupted her as a nurse rushed out from the ward with blood on her head. What's going on, doctor? Mira asked. I think he's going mad. He's screaming. Who brought him here? The doctor said. Is that why he hurt the nurse? Vicky asked. The doctor nodded. They rushed into the ward, watching Caleb throw everything on the floor, creating chaos. The doctor tried to calm him down. Who brought me here? Caleb demanded. After a long moment of insanity, Mira voiced out. I brought you here, she said with confidence and determination. How dare you, bitch? Who is your father in this land? Which bird laid you, you slut bitch? Caleb tried to hit Mira, but Felix blocked his hand. Caleb freed himself and tried to punch Felix, but Felix was faster. The doctor quickly held them before it escalated. Mr. Orishe approached immediately. Watching Caleb spit blood from the earlier fight with Felix, Mira knew this was a new chapter of her life. She felt drawn to him. I don't know if it was darkness or something else. This is how Caleb entered my life. I wish it could have been the last day. But more days approached. That night, when I got home, I collapsed and spent more than a week in the hospital. Mom didn't let any of my friends know, Mira narrated. Mrs. James was seen running around the hospital, then entered the doctor's office. She was handed a report, smiled, and tears rolled down her eyes as she looked at Mira, who on the bed smiled back with tears rolling down her face. Mira Chinaza James, the daughter of a leopard who fights like a great warrior from heaven, Mrs. James said, holding her tightly. I miss you, she added. You make me feel like you are losing me at any time, Mira replied. I lost my husband to hypoplastic left heart syndrome after many surgeries. I thought life would end. But when I see you beside me, I said I would do anything at least to keep going because of you, Mrs. James said, tears rolling. I love you, Mira, she added. I love you, Mama, Mira replied, hugging her tightly. When I was young, you and Daddy always went to the spa, Mira said. It's a lie. They never had an opportunity. I sneaked into her room one day and saw that she wished to do things with her husband, like planning and having a spa day at home, creating a personalized memory scrapbook, and walking hand in hand on the beach. I knew she wished to do these things with him, Mira narrated. I wish we could visit your father's grave together as one, Mrs. James said. Mira was working on a memory scrapbook, placing a picture of her and her mom. During the week, Mom and I did everything together. We had an emotional and relaxing spa day at home, created a fun memory scrapbook, and walked on the beach. It was so romantic. We made everything happen. Despite friends and work colleagues being worried, we took pictures to keep the memories precious, Mira narrated. At the graveyard, a tombstone read, Honorable Mr. James Chinedu Lucian, aged 32. Mrs. James placed flowers on the grave. My husband, you know I love you, and you love me too. I remember when we first met at the bar. You were dancing while others were laughing. I found it disgusting. I would hide when I saw you to avoid embarrassment with your jokes. but we kept crossing paths. I always heard you say you would love to have a picnic with me and your daughter, Mrs. James said, hugging Mira. This is Mira here with a picnic basket. I hope you are watching as we do it here. I am sure you are happy to see your daughter grow. She is now a grown, mature girl, hardworking like you, generous like you. All your attributes are in her, Mrs. James added, smiling. But I will, she began, tears rolling, and Mira hugged her. Dad, I love you. We have been lonely, but I can feel your presence. Mommy has been trying to be strong, but fate and destiny have been obstacles in our lives. It's making us distant. God has been generous to us, and He does as He likes. But I am afraid to leave. It seems like life is ready and being cruel to us, Mira said, tears rolling as she sweated profusely, which was not normal. She quickly took her medication. Mira placed a picture of her and her mom at her dad's grave in the memory scrapbook. When I returned, all my friends were mad at me. They said they were worried. I couldn't explain, but I think I apologized better with a dinner reunion I hosted in our building. It was a memorable night for us all. I couldn't eat because of my health that night, Mira narrated. Mira was at the food research department with her colleagues, working seriously. Ayo, come over, Mrs. Seyi called. Ayo stood up and walked to her, standing without bending to look over the computer. Why are you standing? Did I call you to stand? Mrs. Seyi asked. I thought you wanted to say I should come and collect the food you left over. Ayo replied. Ah, that's all he knows. Food. Mrs. Happiness commented, stopping her typing. You know we are fighting because I caught you hiding your food in the morning, Ayo said. Don't mind Mrs. Happiness. She doesn't know you are Balogun laying Ubirin, Mrs. Seyi said, giving him the flask. But concentrate, she added. You are spoiling him. What he will eat and then mess up the air, Mira asked. That's why I understand air conditioning, Mrs. Happiness said. Why are you sweating, Mira? She noticed. Mira's phone rang. Hello, Mira answered, walking straight out of the office. Hi, Mimi. Are you coming to dinner tonight? Vicky asked. No, Mira replied. Please come for my sake, Vicky pleaded. I knew something was wrong with Vicky's statement. There was doubt in her voice. I am good at observing little things. I know Vicky, my childhood friend. For my sake is not a phrase she would use. Her statement is always for friendship's sake. Something is wrong, and I'm not yet fully aware of it, Mira narrated. The scene opened at the restaurant. The table was set like a romantic date, but it was just for welcoming Mira back. Mrs. Happiness, Seyi, Ayo, Vicky, Coco were present. I could sense something was wrong. The table was set like a romantic date. It was for welcoming me back, because I could see Mrs. Happiness, Sheyi, and Ayo, including Bella and Coco. I only expected Bella and Coco at the table, Mira narrated. Good evening, Mira greeted. They responded. Ayo's teasing eyes revealed he is not good at hiding secrets. Ayo is not good at hiding secrets. You can see it in his teasing eyes. I could feel Felix's long stare at me as he gently held a gaze while eating. I blushed. Upon looking at Vicky's eyes, I realized something was wrong. Vicky was not herself. What happened? Mira narrated. Tonight is a great night for all of us, friends and family. No, we are family gathering around this blessed table. It reminds me of when I first met my husband. That lazy-ass man, Mrs. Sheyi said. They laughed and continued eating. Mrs. Happiness, eating late by now? If your husband doesn't let you in, I have enough space at my place, Ayo teased. Did you hear this dirty little mouth of an idiot boy? Mrs. Happiness retorted. I am not a boy. I am a man, Ayo replied. They all laughed, but it wasn't funny. Remember, this table is not for your silly jokes. It's for love, Mrs. Sheyi said. Upon hearing the word love, my eyes locked with Felix's. I could see nothing but love, but Vicky seemed so strange to me. Just then, I spotted a group of men with musical instruments and flowers. They were hiding, but I could see them because I have good sight. It seemed like Felix wanted to propose. To who? Me? No. Just then, I remembered Vicky calling me, telling me Felix was sick and I should look after him. She had called me to give him money on her behalf. When Vicky tried to hold Felix's hand, he had gently removed it. When Felix was sick a year ago, being in the hospital for 6 months, Vicky never left his side. She once asked me, if Felix proposed to me, will I say yes? I said yes. He's like a brother to me. He had taken care of me. That was 4 years ago. She just smiled and hugged me. I never knew she loved him for a long time. But Felix never knew, or he might have just ignored it. Did I know him? I never knew him as my future husband, but as a friend, a brother. I didn't know he fell in love with me because he is good at hiding, looking at Vicky. Right. We love each other. We are friends, she said. Vicky nodded. Felix signaled to the men for the surprise. Being friends is not enough. I want us to take a step, Felix began. Yeah, being friends is not enough. We are all family. Mira cut him off, stopping the signal. We love each other, but love, I sometimes doubt it. I can never marry a man who loves me. I had wished to love a man who would never return my love, Mira said. They were all shocked and curious, not understanding. Coco, Vicky, Ayo, Mrs. Happiness, and Sheyi, I love you all. It's not necessary to return the love, Mira said. The scene slowly faded away. Mira was writing in her diary. That night, I decided to make some lists because I realized those who I love love me back. But the least I want is to love someone who will never return my love. Mom will be happy to know I finally made a list of adventures I wish to embark on with someone I will love, she narrated. The diary closed, and darkness enveloped the scene. Mira was walking along while Felix drove behind her. From that night, I started avoiding Felix. I knew Becky would feel guilty. I think I am not innocent either, Mira narrated. Felix exited the car, running after her, and grabbed her hand. She pulled away. Stop avoiding me, please, Mimi. You are killing me, Felix said emotionally. I am not avoiding you, Mira replied. You are. I know I love you. That's the truth. I can't stop dreaming about you being the woman I will wake up beside, the one I will care for, the one whose arm I will rest in, the mother of my kids. I can't stop dreaming, Felix pleaded, tears rolling. I am sorry. I can't return your love, Mira said, tears rolling. Why? Felix asked, tears rolling. I see you as a brother. I can't process you being the man I will want for the rest of my life. Mira replied. Listen, Felix said, holding her hand. We can do it together. Give me months to prove the love gradually. We can do this. Look into my eyes. What do you see? He asked. Mira, lost, couldn't see anything but love. Leave me alone. I can't because I can't. I will forever hurt you. I will die soon, she said, breaking free. Don't say that, Felix said, hugging her. I am diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome. A disease, Mira said, breaking down in tears. Felix was shocked. I have 6 months left, she added. Listen to me. Even if it's 3 days left, I will love you till I die. Even if I regret it later, I will be happy to suffer for your love, to lose myself because of you. We will overcome it together. Felix promised. No, you are heartless, Mira said, breaking free. Felix was confused. Did you know how long Becky has waited for you to return her love? 7 years. You knew, but never returned her love. When you were in coma for 6 months, she was with you, praying you had wake up, fasting for months, sitting with you and feeding you. Didn't you wonder why she didn't have the opportunity to work under lifeguard health company because of you? She wasted her certificate because of you, missed interviews and many job opportunities. She ended up as a retailer, a graduate. She didn't stop supporting you, pleading with me to lie because if you knew, you had refused. When you were sick, she didn't sleep. She kept calling me. She always wanted to be with you, but you wouldn't let her. Please, find a place in your heart for her. I know you can. You are a strong man. I believe in you. For my sake and happiness, please, for friendship's sake, Mira said gently as she walked away. Felix watched her. Mira cried her heart out at the silent roadside till her Uber car arrived. By then, she had stopped because she knew she was a strong woman, even though she had a weak heart. Please, wind down the window and turn on the air conditioning, she requested. Okay, madam, the Uber driver replied. As he wound down the glass, Mira noticed a lady by a car, seemingly begging someone. It was Mr. Caleb. He pushed the lady away, entered his car, and drove off. The lady started crying, walking barefoot. Mira recognized her as Miss Ada. Wait for her, I will pay, Mira said. The Uber driver stopped, and Miss Ada got in, continuing to sob and pretending to be okay as she unlocked her phone. Deleting pictures. It's okay, Mira said, holding her tight as she cried on her arm. It's okay, she repeated. Thank you, Ma. It's not his fault. I knew he was a monster before falling in love with him. He has no feelings. For 3 years, I have been with him, and he has never loved me back. He changes women like clothes. But when I came into his life, I thought I could change him. Instead, he shattered my heart, broke it into pieces, used me, and I had 7 abortions for him. My life is ruined by him. He's a beast. Miss Ada said, crying harder. Not all men are like him, Mira said. This isn't good enough. He has the ability to shatter your heart, but prove you have the ability to repair it. You are a strong lady for being with him for years. You can overcome this. Just know this is a new step and a new progress ahead, Mira reassured. I know there is a day we will meet again. I think fate just keeps us tied in other ways. I realize this is the kind of man I want. Love in without rewards. This is a business of no profit. I tried to give it a go, Mira narrated. Felix and Becky stood in a tense moment of emotional revelation. Becky, Felix cried out, worried. I am worried our bond is fraying, he admitted. Becky's eyes swelled up with tears. I regret not returning your feelings, Felix said soberly. You are aware of my affection for you, yet you persist in overlooking it. Becky said with a sober tone. I apologize, Becky. I didn't realize it sooner, but it's too late now. Nonetheless, I cherish you like family. I can sense your love too, Felix said earnestly, tentatively reaching for her hand. I will keep loving you until you reciprocate, Becky replied, pulling away hesitatingly. But our common ground is Mimi, and Mimi is facing a dire situation, Felix said sadly. Dare? Becky asked, shocked and confusion clouding her expression. She's been diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome. She only has 6 months left, Felix revealed. Becky sobbed softly as she embraced Felix. She confided in me about your feelings. She mentioned that my reciprocation would bring her solace. Can't we pretend for the sake of our friendship? Felix asked, holding her gently. For the sake of our friendship, Becky hesitated. Mira watched the city skyline from her apartment. I decided to resign from my job. It's emotional and sad leaving my colleagues. They don't know what happened, but they regularly visit me. Felix is doing good with Becky, but I think it's an act. I have 6 months to live, but I need to leave it with no order. I told Mom I have seen whom I will spend my life with. She is happy, not knowing it's not whom she thought. Thank you for watching. Please comment, like, share, turn on the notification button for more videos like this. Thank you.